as bad as The Phantom Menace is, and The Phantom Menace is bad, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, is worse. It is worse. It shouldn't be, because there is more to like in Attack of the Clones than there is in The Phantom Menace. Ewan McGregor gets an interesting side story in the movie as Obi-Wan Kenobi. We get Jango Fett, who kind of, there's a lot of debate whether Boba Fett, who I love, is actually a cool character or not. Because in the original trilogy, he doesn't do anything. He just sort of stands there menacingly. And Jango Fett kind of delivers on the promise of Boba Fett. And we kind of get to see some cool action. Some cool Mandalorian fight scenes. There's a big battle at the end, the beginning of the Clone Wars. That's cool. I mean, it could be better in the hands of a better director. It would have been epic and amazing. But you know what? It beats to hell the end of The Phantom Menace. So why is this the worst movie in the saga then? Why, in my opinion, is this the one where it's practically unwatchable? It's because this is the romance of the saga. And if you thought that George Lucas couldn't write comedy with Jar Jar Binks, oh God. George Lucas writing romance. Hayden Christensen takes over the role of Anakin Skywalker. And you know what? While most people hate Hayden Christensen and they feel like he ruined the thing, Hayden Christensen did as good a job with the material he was given as anybody could have. It was long rumored that Leonardo Dicaprio would play Anakin Skywalker. Dicaprio could not have done better. Nobody could have done better with this. This is just, Anakin is written as a whiny. You almost want him to be worse than he is, to be more villainous, because he just comes off like a bitch. I mean, that's what it is. He comes off like a bitch. And when he starts to try and court Padme, who he has no chemistry with, by the way. Natalie Portman and Hayden Christensen, worst screen chemistry in history. Bar none. Bar none. It just is so laughable, and I can't even watch it. Like, I get embarrassed for the actors trying to watch them do a love scene together. There is the most epically funny cut in this movie that I have ever seen in any movie, where, Padme keeps pushing this guy away, and he keeps trying to kiss her, trying to whatever, and she's like, no, we can't. And at one point, they're rolling around in a field together and laughing, and there's this hard cut to them sitting next to a fireplace about this far from each other, staring into each other's eyes, and she's got on this, like, sexy leather dress that, and you're watching it going, oh my God. I laughed out loud in the theater when that happened. And I giggle every time because it's such an awkward moment. Attack of the Clones should have been so much better, but there's so much working against it. We were given Christopher Lee, who's a great actor, as Count Dooku, the leader of the separatist movement. Count Dooku is never an interesting character. He's not an interesting character in the expanded universe. He's not an interesting character on Clone Wars. He's not an interesting character anywhere in the saga. Had Darth Maul carried on into Episode 2, this would have been a better movie. You would have had a villain. You would have had the showdown between Obi-Wan and Darth Maul, and it would have been given it some dramatic heft that the movie lacks. There is so much that's just boring in the movie, like with the Phantom Menace. And as with the Phantom Menace, though not as bad, very little of consequence happens in this movie. Even though, really, so much of it is building towards stuff, it doesn't feel like it is. It's like, okay, Anakin and Padme are falling in love. That should be epic. It should mean something. It doesn't. It doesn't feel important. The Clone Army, finding out about that, doesn't feel important. The Clone Wars beginning doesn't feel important. The only moment that really rings true, and I do like this moment, I like the whole storyline actually, is that Anakin returns to Tatooine because he's been having nightmares about his mother. Something happened to his mother. Now you would think, in the 10-year span between episode 1 and 2, Anakin would have gone back at some point to free his mother. You would think that Anakin would have said to Obi-Wan, hey, look, I appreciate being your Padawan and all, and I'm going to listen to you and everything, but we got to do this one thing. We got to go get my mom. Okay? I know a Jedi's not supposed to feel attachment, blah, 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 blah. Call it a peacekeeping mission, call it whatever. We're going to go free a slave. I think the Jedi should be okay with that. Never happens. He never checks in on his mom. Nothing ever happens. And which is one of the things that kind of, I feel like Lucas, there's that creepy vibe that the Jedis give off in these movies, that they're taken when they're infants, against their will, to lead these lives as monks. And you wonder, like, how Lucas thought that was somehow noble of them to do. But anyway, Anakin goes back. The mother's been kidnapped. There's an implication that she's actually been raped as well. And Anakin loses it and starts hacking up the Sand People who kidnapped her with a lightsaber. And there's a great moment where he confesses it to Padme, and it's just the Vader music starts, the Imperial March starts, and Hayden Christensen really delivers that sort of the hatred, the burning, seething rage inside of Anakin in that moment. That's a good moment. That's a good moment, and we could have used more moments like it, but we're not given them. Episode 2 is like Phantom Menace. It's flat. It's boring. It doesn't feel epic enough. It feels small. It feels just dull. I mean, it's the only word I can think of to describe it. It's a dull movie with horrible acting that's horribly written. Ewan McGregor continues to impress as Obi-Wan Kenobi. There are some standout moments in this movie, but overall, the embarrassing love story makes this the worst of the saga.
Their worlds. Sort of gave myself the challenge of, okay,